Hello, everyone. I'm Soda. I am here today with Tracy, and we are going to talk about the connection between your mind, your body, your creativity, all of that good stuff. So, Tracy, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit about your business and what made you kind of become interested in being a touch therapist?
Oh my gosh. So hi everybody. My name is Tracy. I'm a mom to two. I have a wonderful husband, and I'm also a caregiver to my sister who has cerebral palsy. And that's really how I got into the healing arts and massage therapy, was because I grew up around physical therapy and a lot of different medical treatments that she had growing up. So I always had an affinity for touch therapy. I used to have to help her. She had really high spasticity levels when we were young, and I used to have to help her, like, kind of move through some of those episodes that she would have. So from a young age, I just was naturally drawn to using my hands for, helping people heal and move energy and kind of stuck, muscles and joints. And so that's where I really kind of got interested in it. And then I went to psychology. I got my psychology degree, a 4-year degree. And then after that, I moved to Las Vegas, and that's where I got my massage therapy training. And then I worked for 15 years in a huge spa. I helped lots of different people. I got to see all sorts of, different people with different, like, ailments, and recovering from sports injuries. A lot of emotional stuff happens in Vegas. You'd be so surprised. And then we moved back to where we're at now, to help my sister, so about 6 years ago. So that's when I started my own business, really getting more into, like, the connectivity of the mind and body. And my treatments with my clients are a lot longer. When I worked in a spa, I was kind of limited, and now I've kind of gotten to grow the different types of therapies that I'm using. I use sound therapy, I use aromatherapy, I use a lot of talk therapy for people to move through stuff that they might, need to process. And so that's really how it kind of came full circle. And I just love what I do. And I've been doing it 20 years now. So it's awesome. I'm very lucky that I got, found my calling early.
Well, we are lucky that there are people like you because I know that that's something I personally could never do. I like getting massages, but I don't think I could ever do all that. And
It's I love the human body. It's so fascinating to me. And what's so fascinating is that we all have, like, the same, parts of our bodies to make it function, but the constituent, like the chemical constituent, the emotional journey that each person on is different. And so through my career, I have felt so many different bodies, but every body has a different story, and their body says that. So I always find it so fascinating. Each person is just a little different how they process, a little different how they hold their patterns that they kind of, present themselves to the world. So it's fascinating to me. And, like, I don't know, I love it. It's my creative outlet, is working with people's bodies. So
I never like really thought of that as a creative outlet. So
mhm.
I'm really excited to kind of get your perspective about this subject of creativity and how it can be blocked or enhanced due to how you take care of your body. And I just wanted to get your again get your perspective about what are some of the ways that neglecting our needs and taking care of our body can halt us from having that creative growth?
Mhm. So it's very interesting. So what I would say is we get as human beings, we get used to moving and processing emotions in certain patterns. Our brain is basically programmed, from an early age on how we're going to deal with certain emotional situations, stressors, anger, fear, like all love, all the major emotions. So our brain gets trained into responding in a certain way. And then our body also responds in a specific pattern. It's just like anything. You have to train yourself a certain way, and you also have to untrain certain habits that maybe you have had throughout your life to find that growth, to find that, I call it energetic flow, because when you're in that flow state, when everything is moving through your body, your lymph is moving, your oxygenated blood's moving, your breath flow, your lungs are expanding, you're in an expansion state where then it's easier for that creativity to flow, to that connectivity, to your intuition. When you're locked up, everything's closed, it's much more difficult to access some of that intuition that you might need to put forth your creativity. So what I do is, there's 3 steps I always say in when I'm working with my clients. The first is finding awareness. So you have to be aware of where your body's holding patterns are. Is it, shallow breath? Is it locked shoulders forward to kind of protect your heart and your throat? Is it, a lot of people kind of do this where they shrink themselves instead of being expansive.
What
So,
about like clenching your jaw? Is that, because that's
oh,
something I tend to
absolutely.
do.
I see it all the time. So many people, when they're dealing with kind of life stressors, it's just like, and that inhibits a lot of the lymphatic movement because you have so many lymph
Mhm.
nodes in your neck. And so you think about it, your lymph system is the system that helps clean out your body. It deals with the fats, the proteins, the viruses, the bacterias, all of that needs to get moved through the lymphatic system and out through the kidneys and, through your digestion and your feces. Basically, you have to move all the crap out. And if your body is closed off, that free lymphatic flow, the free oxygenation isn't moving like it needs to. So you're inhibiting your body's ability to process. So, like I said, first it's awareness. You're aware that you have this issue of clenching and kind of closing down, which can affect your throat, your thyroid, your thymus glands. So, awareness, and then learning different techniques to process whatever those ailments might be. So processing, and in processing the emotions and processing the, like, getting lymph moving, getting oxygenated blood, creating open structure, you begin to create space. And in space is where the magic happens, I always tell people. So when you create open space for your physicalness, the blood, the lymph, the muscles, the nerves are firing correctly. When you have that open space and connectivity, it's just so much easier for you to connect to the intuition and to have full expression of whatever you need to express. And I think with art, because we're talking about artists and writers, a lot of
Mhm.
times, they might need to express things, like their way of expressing some of these like deep stressors or emotion is through writing, or you know uh, doing art, or what else is it, art, writing,
Acting,
music.
singing, anything.
Yeah. So any of those outlets are really a way for them to process and express those things, so they get it out of their system. You want things to move out of your physical body so that you have space for really connecting, getting to a higher energy level. And it's layers. Everything's in layers with the body and with the mind. So you have to kind of peel back slowly as you open so that you get that connectivity.
That I completely agree with that. And I mentioned before, I have like some tumors in my throat that are probably might be related to all my jaw clenching. I think a lot of times when we could it could start mentally and then get physical, and then you know
Absolutely.
and I'm just wondering how your thoughts can affect your physical body and vice versa a little bit on that end too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Your thoughts are so powerful. Like that internal voice that we have is really that neural wiring, so that internal voice, if it is negative, if you're talking down to yourself, you are programming a negative internal energy. You become more acidic. And there's a Dr. Emoto. He did these studies. It's really cool to look him up. Have you heard of him, Dr. Emoto?
Is he the crystal?
The water. So
Crystal? Yes,
he
the water.
studied water, and most of our body is made up of water. Like 72% of our body is water. So what he studied was the impact of what we think and say and how it affects the actual molecular structure of water. And he was able to show that positive affirmations and, like nice, comforting energy towards one water really made the crystals clear and beautiful, and the molecular structure was pristine. Whereas the water that was exposed to negativity and anger was like dark and dirty, and the structures were not complete. So it shows you how powerful how you speak to yourself. That relationship with yourself is so important. I always tell people it's a neural program. We're like a computer system. It's our neural programming. And sometimes you really have to, like I said, it's peeling back layers. You have to have that awareness of your self-talk, so that when you kind of go down that path of maybe saying, oh, I'm not this, or I didn't do that right, or, those negative words, you can stop them. I always say cancel and delete and replace with something that's more positive. Like,
Oh, I like the replace. I haven't
yeah.
really
Yeah, you have to
heard that
replace
one.
it with something positive, so that you are creating that neural network for your brain. Instead of always going to the negative thing, your brain will start to recognize the replaced positivity, and then you're getting that connection, and your body's feeling it, and everything. Your heart will expand, your breath flow will expand, your intuitiveness, which is the third eye, and then the crown chakra, those will begin to open, so that you can receive. It's about receiving, the good energy, the love, God's voice, whatever that is for you, so that you have that uplifting clearness. You don't want to walk around the world feeling closed off, that your voice isn't important, that what you feel and believe isn't important, because it is. That's our journey. We're all on a different spot or place in our healing journey. So we have to be open to receiving that information. But if you're always in the negative, you're not going to receive it. It's going to be blocked. It's blocked by the negativity. So it's really, really important. I would also say the autonomic nervous system is really important, which is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic is like our fight or flight, like it affects our adrenal glands. And yes, and a lot of people are constantly activating the sympathetic nervous system. So what ends up happening is they end up getting adrenal fatigue. So their adrenal glands start malfunctioning, and then their kidneys aren't flushing correctly. So it's very connected. So the adrenals can go through where there's too much adrenaline, constant. They slow down. They stop producing as much because they're just not able to. You can only be in that fight or flight for so long before your body will just be like, okay, I can't do it anymore. I can't run. It's fight. What's the other one? Fight or flight or freeze. Those are the three things.
That's a fourth one, right? When you like go into wanting to please someone as a defense mechanism.
So a lot of those things can be related to, you know, like I said, it's programmed in us. So it could have been something that you experienced when you were young, a way someone spoke to you, or maybe someone silenced your voice, and then from that point on, you felt like you couldn't truly express because you might get in trouble, or
Mm-hmm.
or it wasn't valued. And so those little interactions can create, like I said, that neural network, and it stays with us until we recognize it and can reprogram it. And realizing, like, okay, I have come through this. My voice matters. Your voice opening this energy for you is very important. You know, working on your lymphatic system through here. Breath, I taught all my clients about breathing. Breathing is so important because not only will it help activate your parasympathetic, which is your basically like rest and recovery, breathing can bring down your heart rate. It can help you process those like stressful moments, but you have to be aware of how to activate it. So breath work is really, really powerful in just calming everything down. And I think people sometimes are moving so fast through their days that they're not conscious about their breath and how to slow everything down and how to get your nervous system to just calm down and be. Like, we're all in this beta brainwave, and you really need to move into theta brainwave activity for the processing and for the true creativity and intuitiveness to happen. So does that make
And
sense?
what so okay, so how do you get into a different brainwave in addition to your breathing exercises?
So breathing definitely changes like the physiological aspect of the body because you're increasing the body's oxygenated blood circulation throughout your body. When we're just doing, you know, kind of like our short breaths,
Mm-hmm.
it will keep our heart rate up. When you breathe through your nose really slow, like I usually do like a box breathing where you can breathe in for 4 count, hold for 4 count, and then exhale out for a 4 count out of the nose. That will bring down your nervous system. That will activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So breathing's important. For theta sound therapy, I recently got my sound therapy certification. So sound therapy can change that kind of from the beta doing. It's like the list, and people who have trouble falling asleep at night because they're constantly thinking of like all the things they need to do. That's like our beta brain. So you're just in the doing. And so you have to be able to calm your nervous system. You have to change your nervous system from that doing to just kind of being and resting is so important. A lot of people don't truly rest. You know, they don't decompress. Like, decompression of the day is so important. So routines for that, like really getting on a good sleep um, program is important. Having a routine, because you're from 10 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning, your brain is releasing the most melatonin for sleep and for helping you to get into your recovery REM cycles. So if you're like all over the place, your body's not going to get into that recovery state. And then you're waking up the next day with all of the day before's junk before you even begin the new day. So yeah, so definitely you can, like I do the sound therapy. So if you can see my bowls, so I utilize that a lot. Oh yeah, they're so cool. These ones, each one has a different vibration to clear each of the chakra energies. And it's
Okay.
basically vibrating your cells. Like, it helps the vibration of your cells go from kind of chaos to like a flow. Um, and so you can go on YouTube and you can find like theta brain activity, which sleep, you know, helping with sleep, like listening to something like that for 10 or 15 minutes before you go to bed will help bring down your system. Doing the breath work, um, I use essential oils, so I'm always like oiling up my kids and myself.
Mhm.
It helps the olfactory system. It's so close, so it helps the brain recognize, okay, it's time for us to rest. It's time for us to decompress. And in that decompression, like your whole body is processing everything from the day, eliminating, the stuff that it doesn't need, processing toxins, and then allowing for that new clean space for the next day. So for your new clean thoughts, for, bringing in nutrition and, good environmental connectivity. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's so, oh my gosh, now I want to learn all about like sound therapy and
Oh,
stuff
it's
like
amazing.
that.
It's been
Like,
around for a long time. Like sound therapy is not a new thing. Um,
yeah.
the so I think it was in the 1920s they really started to study, like they've used sound therapy for 2000 years, like Mayans sound therapy,
Yeah.
flutes and bowls and drums. But studying it, I believe it was in the 1920s, Dr.
Okay.
Wright started to do research on the vibration, because everything's an energetic vibration. So when you bring in different sounds, how it will make cells vibrate at different energy levels. And so that's the whole philosophy, is that if you can clear some of the like stagnation of your cell movement, things that aren't, functioning well, blood flow, lymphatic flow, you can get things really circulating, then your body is in a state of like a alkaline state for healing. When you're acidic, stress causes acidity. So when you're acidic, your body has a really difficult time, you know, functioning. It's just trying to, like, your body always wants to find that healthy medium. And if it's always acidic and like stressed out, it's hard for it to, to get to a balance. So you have to find those things that are going to help you balance your internal system and your neurological system, your breath. All of those things are super important.
What are some ways that we could know, like, where we're blocked or how we're blocked, whether it's like knowing what chakra is blocked or what physically could be causing it or emotionally or any of that?
So, I think it's really important is teaching people how to listen to signals of their body, because your
Mhm.
body tells you, it gives you little like warning signs. Um, People who maybe get really bad low back pain, or maybe have digestive issues, bloating, an inability to kind of process food easily, those type of people tend to have so like the root, sacral, and solar plexus are lower
Mhm.
three chakras. And so if you are constantly kind of struggling with like pain or discomfort in those areas, those areas might be you know needing some special care, needing energetic movement, needing physical movement. Those chakras deal a lot with like house and home, finances, your sexuality is your the sacral chakra is your sexuality, like how are you with how you feel about yourself. Solar plexus is about ego, how you present yourself to the world. Like, do you truly feel connected to yourself? Do you truly love who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, your entire journey, whether it's been difficult or not? Really embracing who you are as a person and your ability to be authentic and share, what it is that you need to share. Because I think that's the amazing thing about, human beings, is sometimes through true trauma and adversity, when we can move through some of that, that isn't who we are. That trauma doesn't necessarily mean that is who we are. We had to go through those really, really hard times to become, a higher elevated person, to find our strength, to find our voice, to find whatever our, creative outlets might be. So unfortunately, some of those traumas are very difficult, but you can, turn something that's very difficult into something that's very powerful, and that people can learn and connect to you, because there's a lot of people who've had maybe similar experiences that might need that support. Your voice, your ability to move through some of that stuff might be what gives them their own strength to shift what they might be stuck in that moment. So I think finding your voice, uh, feeling like, if you feel something, like with you, I saw just from your picture that I saw, I could see immediately that you had some restricted
Yeah.
flow and swelling in your throat. I mean, that was immediately when I saw your picture, I was like, ooh,
Yep.
something's going on with her throat energy, thyroid. So you can see, discoloration, pain. If you're constantly getting pain in like your right shoulder, the right side is like our masculine energy side, and our left side is our feminine energy side. So
Oh,
right side connects more to like the liver organ, gallbladder. Those organs are processing more masculine emotions, like our strength, our anger, maybe frustration might show up. Males in our life a lot of times will show up on our right side. Left side is more of our feminine energy, connected to our heart, to our pancreas. So those emotions are like love and loss, maybe sadness, and really being aware, like, am I feeling these emotions? All of the emotions are important. You have to be able to connect to them. Don't push them down. Like, people are told, especially women, it's like, don't be angry. Like, no, I'm angry right now. I'm going to be angry. I need to process this so I can move through it, so it doesn't sit in my liver and I don't cause discomfort in my liver. So
yeah.
it's really, all of these emotions are important, but also just feeling yourself. Like, take time to breathe and feel, like, when I breathe in, is there a space in my body that's restricted, that's tight, that hurts? When I take a deep breath, and then when I
Everywhere.
exhale, where do I feel it? Do I feel a nice flow of that oxygen all the way through my body? Or do I feel, oh, it is kind of getting, locked up in my liver or my gallbladder? Maybe something's going on there. Maybe I need to look at supporting that specific organ. So, just really being comfortable with yourself, feeling, I tell people, touch your stomach. Like, so many people don't even like know where their organs are. I'm like, do you know where your liver is? So be comfortable with knowing what parts of your body, you might feel a little pain or tightness, because it's important. It's really important. Um, I also tell people, I have this little amazing tool. This is a reflexology roller.
Mm.
Yeah. And so rolling your feet at night will help stimulate your reflex points. It helps with sleep. It helps with liver processing, digestion. All of those things are super important. So this is a great little tool, or even like a hard ball, if you have like a golf ball, if you don't want to buy something like this.
Oh,
Um,
I do that sometimes with like a
yeah,
sock.
yeah. So anything to stimulate those points on your feet, because it will help stimulate your internal organ system too. So you can process, like I said, awareness, processing, and creating space are really important for just overall health, and like feeling that freedom, because it's in the freedom that you can really express yourself and get connected to your creativity. So does that
Oh my
answer your
gosh.
question?
Yes. I love learning about like the different how the different body parts affect us emotionally and stuff. Oh, it's so fascinating. So now you got me like wanting to learn everything.
It's so
Um,
cool. It's so amazing. I've had 20 years of just feeling, and I've seen so many powerful, like, emotional releases. And this is the thing. I know you had asked me a question about sometimes people are a little nervous or apprehensive.
Yes, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
next.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, well, I mean, exactly what people are like, that just seems like a little weird, or especially with men.
Mhm.
I've noticed like it just, oh, massages are for women. I'm strong,
Mhm.
like what are some other kind of misconceptions that you hear about getting massage therapy or any other
Mhm.
sort of physical therapy, and what are some counter arguments to that, and where can people find someone like you to help them out?
You're so cute. So I would say, I think first, it's like the education. I've been in this field 20 years, so it has evolved a lot from where it used to be like, oh, only women go to the spa and get massages. I mean, I see so many males now because there is such an impact on helping people heal. Like even just
Hmm.
a massage like helps, like I said, your lymph flow better. Like moving that, like people can feel it. So once a person can feel like the movement of stagnant, junk in our body, whether it's emotional or physical, then they're like, I like people, I can always see the coloring of people changes, their openness changes, their breath changes when they release certain things. Um, so it really is about healing and health now. Like it's transitioned a lot. I think the other thing is it's vulnerable. A lot of people feel very vulnerable coming in and like here they are, and some stranger, it might be my first time working on somebody, so they don't necessarily feel comfortable. So I always say communicate. Don't be afraid to talk to someone. Like if you don't like your feet touched, if you're ticklish, like let the therapist know. If you love your scalp being massaged for 20 minutes, let your therapist know because it's your time. If you don't like hard touch, tell your therapist. If you love a deeper touch, you need to let your therapist know. Like whatever it is, there has to be that open communication. And then sometimes for me, because it is vulnerable with like the touch therapy and kind of processing um, emotions, like I've been doing it so long, I'm very intuitive to people. Like I pick up on stuff very quickly. Sometimes I get like downloaded messages. It's really bizarre, but I connect into someone's energy. Like when I touch them, I'm trying to be that open vessel to receive so that I can give them the information. And then it's up to them to do what they want with it. Like it's out of me, it's into them to decide. Like I might give them, some tools or if I feel something or hear something, I'll give it to them, but it's up to them. It's not mine, it's theirs. So you just have to be very open to receiving information and then handing it and then letting it go. I have to let it go because it's like I said, I can't be stuck in their healing journey. I'm just here to kind of guide them. So sometimes it might take me 3 or 4 interactions or treatments before they're ready to like let something go in their body. And I'll tell them like, okay, like I felt some restriction in, I call the chest cavity kind of the shield, like heart and our throat and our lungs. So I might say I felt a little restriction in there. We need to work on. I'll give them some breathing exercises so that next time we can breathe a little deeper into some of that and open up some of the more of that fascia space in your body so that you can move through and heal and grow. And it's like you said, it's all about growing. It's really
Yeah. And then
connecting
it
and played the
growing.
bowl so you can hear it. This one, yeah, I'll play this bowl. So this one is the third eye. Sometimes if the lower chakras are a little bit more like energetically blocked or something is going on, the third eye, you might not be ready to receive that energy, but it's still the
Mhm.
sound. It's cool. I brought this one out because it's a little smaller and I'm on on a table. So I'll play this one. And then I would just say for everybody or anybody who's listening, really just close your eyes, take really nice deep breaths in through your nose. If you can, if you feel comfortable with just nasal breathing, just in through your nose for 4. And then exhale through your nose for 4. Good. And just keep that cycle going. You can do either a 4 count or a 2 count. If you're not comfortable with nasal breathing, I would breathe in through your nose. And then I call this one dragon breath, where you put your head to the ceiling and then you exhale out the energy from the back of your throat. That would be good for you because it really moves a lot of that stagnation through your, the thyroid and all the glands in your throat, your esophagus, your trachea. So big breath, expand, and then let any stagnation move. And I'll just play this for a couple times around so you can hear it. Take a deep breath. Just let it all go.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, like, so what I saw in my head was like this. I saw a gold star, and then I saw like this bluish purple swirling around it, like so vivid. It was
That's amazing. See, just
that
that
was
little bit.
crazy.
Yeah, and maybe you can creatively do a picture or paint something or write about it. That's the beauty. I wanted to kind of bring it all back together is uh, finding your creative outlet, whatever that is so important. So you don't, I think I saw your a different live where you felt kind of attacked by some other artists. Your creative outlet, your artistry is not always for other people. A lot of times it's sacred for you and it's created for you. So do what you want. And then, someone might connect to whatever they saw or read. Then that might be a time to expand on it and create something for someone else. But always in your creative outlet, make sure that you're healing yourself and you're doing it for your authentic self. And it's that flow, like finding that creative flow is so powerful, but you don't have to share everything with all artists. Sometimes it's just for you, and that's what's beautiful about it. So next time I'll bring out my throat bowl. It's a little bigger. It's blue. Blue is for your throat chakra, the color blue.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a bigger size bowl, but I'll bring that out and see if you feel any.
Yeah.
Seeing what you saw means that you're already intuitively connected. People who have visions or see colors or swirls, when I play the third eye or crown, that means they're very intuitively connected. So you might just be a little blocked in some of your lower energy. So if we can get that open, oh boy, you're on a roll, girlfriend. I love it. Okay. Yeah. Namaste. It's so nice connecting.